It's not always the best news every morning. I'm a part of a group of men that seek the Lord with all our hearts, and I got news this morning that one of my brothers was killed by a drunk driver last night. So it brings me to Titus. And in Titus, we're taught to be sober-minded, to be sober, period. And in Titus chapter 1, verse 8, says, let's start 7. For a bishop, and bishop has a little note here. It says overseer. A bishop is an overseer. That's what we are. We're overseers. For a bishop must be blameless, as a steward of God, not self-willed, not quick-tempered, not given to wine, not violent, not greedy for money, but hospitable, a lover of what is good, sober-minded, just, holy, self-controlled. I'm guilty of letting tragedies of this world reel me back in, if you will, to alcohol and drugs, and because I don't want to feel the way I'm feeling, so I look for an escape to feel, or should I say to get through how I'm feeling. We should run to God instead, no matter what kind of sorrows we're having. Be the strength of Christ. We're called to be like Christ. Sorrow is at times hard to deal with. When people grieve, they want to escape. When they mourn, they want to escape. I know this all too well. I had 3.5 years sobriety, and I started having a bunch of death in my family and ended up drinking. And I got in trouble again because of it. I fell into the snare of the devil. That's why we're called to be sober-minded, to be strong in Him, so that we can be that light, so that we can be the strength that others need to see and hear, so that they can learn how to be strong without the things of this world, like alcohol, drugs. Verse 9, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and convict those who contradict. Okay? Let's read that again, starting verse 7. For a bishop, an overseer, must be blameless as a steward of God, not self-willed, not quick-tempered, not given to wine, not violent, not greedy for money, but hospitable, a lover of what is good, sober-minded, just, holy, self-controlled, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to warn, exhort, and convict those who contradict. You see? We are that strength. We are that light. If not us, then who? This is just one circumstance of where a man's life was taken because of a drunk driver. I have my own thoughts of why he was out that late or how it happened or whatnot, but it doesn't matter. This is mainly for his loved ones that are believers and need to be that light and have that strength so that others can see it, and it will be a warning to them. For there are many insubordinate, both idle talkers and deceivers, especially those in the circumcision. See? Whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole households, teaching things which they ought not, for the sake of dishonest gain. In the body, especially those of the circumcision. Yeah. There's a lot of good meat right here in Titus. It's not very long. 3 chapters. Short chapters. But it's a template of how we're supposed to be. And if we can't be that light to others, because we continually fall into the same snare with them in alcohol and drugs, then how can we teach people to be sober-minded if we're in there doing it with them? See? I'm saying this because I fell into the snare again. Yeah, me. Not too long ago. 7.5 months ago. And I ended up in trouble. Now I'm on 3 years probation. Whether I was guilty of the charges in my eyes or not, it doesn't matter. I was drinking. Had I not been drinking, I wouldn't have got these charges. Had I been strong and been the light and the strength of Christ, I wouldn't have fell into the snare. You know, it just gives other people to think, oh, look, I knew it, man. He was going to fall. You know, I knew he was going to end up messed up again, you know. And I've been through that a bunch, boy. You know, they sit there and they point their finger at you. They got 4 other ones pointing back at them, you know, but it's okay if they do it, right? That's how the world is. The world does that. They're judgmental in that sense, you know. Even though that, you know, they're doing exactly what they're asking you not to do, which doesn't work. That doesn't work, man. We have to be strong. We have to be strong for others to see. Your work might just be walking it out. You know? You may not be somebody that can read in front of people or tell people about the Lord, but you can walk it out. You can be a living, walking, breathing example of what Christ's supposed to be. Especially in times of sorrow and death, when the devil throws them snares out there for people to fall into, like me. We're called to be sober-minded. And if we're drinking and drugging, we ain't sober-minded, are we? Even for that one time a year or one time a month or whatever, you know. The devil would love for you to think that it's okay one time a week or one time a month or 4 times a month or whatever it is. Chapter 2, verse 6, Titus. Likewise, exhort, warn the young men to be sober-minded, in all things showing yourself to be a pattern of good works. What I just say, you might just be the person that needs to walk it out. By walking it out, you're a light on top of a hill that can't be dimmed. shining bright in your neighborhood or wherever you live, at your job place. No, I'm not. Hey, man, you want to come to the bar after work? No, I don't do that. I'm sorry, man. You're right there. You're being that light, see? In all things, showing yourself to be a pattern of good works. In doctrine, showing integrity. Showing integrity in doctrine. See? Now you're walking doctrine out. You're not just reading it and studying it. You're walking it out. See? Reverence, incorruptibility. Sound speech that cannot be condemned. You know? That one who is an opponent may be ashamed. See? Having nothing evil to say about you. Because if you're there doing it with them, then they can say, they can feel good about what they're doing. Because they can say, well, you were there too. You were doing it. I know I've been through that. I'm just sharing with you what I know. What I do know. Exhort bondservants to be obedient to their own masters. What are you? Aren't you a bondservant of Christ? To be well-pleasing in all things. To be well-pleasing in all things. Not answering back. Not proliferating. Proliferating has a little quote there. Thieving. Honesty. Proliferating. Thieving. Not thieving, but showing all good fidelity. Honesty. That they may adorn the doctrine of God our Savior in all things. That they may adorn the doctrine of God our Savior in all things. For the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lusts, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in the present age, looking for the blessed hope and glorious appearing of our great God and Savior Jesus Christ. Teaches us to be sober, come up out of the world, not to mingle and be included in the worldly things. See, we're called to a higher standard. Called to set the bar. Not easy, but it's doable. I know it's doable. Been sober years at a time. Years at a time. In prison, out here, years at a time. Don't have a breaking point. Hold fast. Got over everything. Jesus is my King. Bye.